Upon my arrival in England in 1996, I gained employment as the Imam of Hanfia Masjid Bradford, and began conveying the message of Islam to the young and old. As time went on, I started to manipulate the young and take them under my wings, and was very successful in building up a large following. When I had enough numbers, I started to stamp my authority at the masjid, but that did not go well with the committee members. As a result, my employment was terminated, without any written warning. As you are aware, in employment law, I should have been given written warnings prior to dismissal, and hence I took the masjid, which is a house of God, to the employment tribunal, and won substantial damages, with the help of a solicitor from Carlisle Road, called Shadab Khan, who later ended up in prison, for laundering a drug baron's profits. I have a confession to make that the above declaration from my LinkedIn profile is incorrect, as there is no evidence to support this. No pictures, no websites, or no addresses. As you can see in my LinkedIn profile, at the time age of 22, I was doing a Mufti course and apprenticeship. No computer centers have been established for the poor. What good is a computer center when the poor do not have enough food and most of the areas do not have a constant supply of electricity? I was born in September 1964, so do you honestly believe me, as a 13-year-old boy, could establish a business involved in publishing and distribution of religious texts, when in fact I was involved in memorizing the Quran at that time? I was not the founder. I took over SMT and rented the buildings on Drummond Road, Bradford, from where we ran the organization. We had madrasa classes in the evenings, a small prayer room, and started collecting used clothing for recycling. This setup became very lucrative and profitable for me. We were paying almost no rent for the building. The teachers I employed were asked to work for very low rates, as it was a charity. This made me wealthier than when I was an imam at Hanfia Masjid. By 2008 I had accumulated enough money from donations and selling recycled clothing to purchase my house for £45,000 cash, as you can see from the land registry document above. As the business got bigger, money started rolling in. I was able to sponsor my brother Kari Ahmed Reza to come to England as a religious teacher, and a job at Save the Mothers Trust, so that he could establish himself over here. He arrived in England in 2009. After a short period of training under my guidance, he became familiar with the setup. After about a year, he was able to buy a house of his own to live in also. As there was now 2 of us family members, we could expand our operations. I devised a scheme to create a masjid, so I approached people to donate towards this, and by 2010 I had convinced enough people and purchased warehouse at Beckside Lane, which was part of the old Bates TV factory, which I then registered myself as the proprietor of the building. But in order to keep this a secret from the donors, we called the building SM Complex, to give the impression it was part of the charity. The purchase price for the building was £350,000, £120,000 deposit, and the rest a mortgage through Barclays Bank with interest, which was obtained by having Save the Mothers Trust as a paying tenant. They also paid the gas, electricity, water rates, and maintenance on the building. Al-Markaz Al-Islami was born. I was the sole proprietor until 2013. When the company became limited, with me as the director. I then took over and moved the madrasa side of Save the Mothers Trust to Al-Markaz Al-Islami, where the revenue generated from the teaching would be profit for myself, with me running the SM Complex Beckside Lane and my brother Kari Ahmed running the SM Building Drummond Road. However, my brother, having come over from Pakistan, had a few tricks of his own. He managed to keep donations that people had given to Save the Mothers Trust for himself. He purchased an Hafiz Bakery franchise for £160,000, 502-504 Barnsley Road, Sheffield S57A, opened in the 23rd of December 2015. This is a YouTube video of the opening. I also ran other businesses from SM Complex, my tire business EU Tires Bradford. I went into partnership with somebody who knows the business, and as time went on, I took over and moved him out. Unfortunately, the contacts in Germany, which were his, would not deal with me in the same manner, hence I closed it down. I also bought a fairly large bakery in Halifax. This again was unsuccessful, and I ended up closing it down. I also partnered with a chef who helped me to set up a catering business and professional kitchen at the SM Complex. After it was up and running, I also moved him on and took it over for myself, and it is still running, serving customers from SMT and others. I recently changed my limited company to a charity, and same directors became trustees, registered in different name and address than SM Complex. Notice I have cleverly changed the name, by removing only the space in Al Markaz, so nobody will notice. We have had many ambulances sent to Pakistan by good Muslims of Bradford through Save the Mothers Trust, as customs duties are lower for charities. My brother Mohammed Reza, who heads the operations in Pakistan, releases the ambulances from customs and sells them on for profit, and pockets the money for himself. When the donors reach Pakistan, they are helpless, as they have no proof that the ambulances belonged to them, as the container was sent through Save the Mothers Trust.
Kari Ahmed Reza, owner of Nafi's Bakery, Sheffield. Thank you, brother, for getting me to England, setting me up with a job at Save the Mothers Trust, and enabling me to purchase my house, a new business, Nafi's Bakery, franchise for £160,000 in 2015, which is thriving. And I hope to become a millionaire like you.
Mohammed Shahid, manager of Save the Mothers Trust. Thank you, Mr. Mufti, for making me manager of Save the Mothers Trust, and enabling me to enjoy holidays all over the world, in 5-star hotels, under the pretense of doing charity work. Also for the £60,000 from the Save the Mothers Trust charity funds, which I used for extensive renovation of my house. Zaroon Hussain, proprietor of Al Markaz Academy and trustee of Save the Mothers Trust. As the school is making huge losses, due to having only a small number of pupils, but still employing 4 teachers and management costs, Save the Mothers Trust are financing us through undeclared funds. I will continue to falsify the accounts on your behalf, to maximize the money we can take out for ourselves, and also, Mr. Mufti, I will make you a multi-millionaire by hiding the revenue of over £500,000 every year, generated by people donating clothes in clothing banks, which we have situated all over West Yorkshire.
Amin Dada, Administrator, Save the Mothers Trust. Thank you, Mr. Mufti, for helping my family in East Africa through charity work from Save the Mothers Trust, and in return I am happy to be the registrant of the new charity Al Markaz Al Islami Limited.
Qamar Afsar, Zed Printing. Thank I Mr. Mufti for giving my business free office space within SM Complex, paid for by Save the Mothers Trust. I will continue to publish the Save the Mothers Trust website to your requirements, and duplicate donation books to falsify accounts.
Shaida Hassan, ex-teacher Al Markaz Academy. Thank you, Mr. Mufti, for all the efforts you made to get my asylum in England, and when my asylum application failed, you devised a conniving plan that I had been divorced from my husband, to get me support through Save the Mothers Trust workers, to pay my rent, living expenses, and airfare for me and my children, and a container full of clothes and household items. A big thank you to the 3 sisters at Save the Mothers Trust, Apa, Annie, and Sabha, who went out of their way to raise money from their families, and household goods and clothing. I am now living happily with my husband, and 2 children in Pakistan. Sorry that I couldn't tell you the truth about who I was, and my relationship with Mr. Mufti, as he had sworn me to secrecy. I miss my humanities teaching job at Al Markaz Academy.
SM Complex owned by Mufti Hassan Reza. Al Markaz Al Islami private business. Income £200,000 from madrasa classes in the evenings. £250,000 from course fees and private tuition and sale literature. £75,000 income from mosque revenue. £50,000 revenue from Hajj and Umrah tours. Save the Mothers Trust have a 100% donation policy. If you look at their accounts you will find that this is a total lie, as is everything else. And also the £50,000 rent Mr. Mufti charges Save the Mothers Trust, who occupy only 5% of the SM complex. Check out their full account and see what little is declared and how much is used up in expenses. All you builders, joiners, plumbers, and heating engineers, when you are carrying out work at SM complex for free or very little money, you are under the impression that you are doing a good deed and you will gain rewards from God Almighty, but in reality all you are doing are adding value to Mr. Mufti's property, nothing else, except making him richer. All employees of Save the Mothers Trust, do you think it is fair and just, while being paid by Save the Mothers Trust, from kind donations you are carrying out duties at Al Markaz Al Islami, which is Mr. Mufti's private company, so he is getting free labor while you are stealing from the charity, because you have been paid for a number of hours to work at Save the Mothers Trust and not his company. Mr. Mufti Hassan Reza, you can cheat, lie and steal from the public and the poor, cheat the tax man, hide behind your beard and religion, and get away with it in this world. But you cannot hide from God, he sees everything. On the day of judgment, you and your accomplices will have to answer to him for your actions and misery that you are bringing, by stealing from kind Muslims of Bradford, and the poor. Please like and share this information, to everyone you know, to stop these thieves.